Hello guys, SCOTTIESNR here once again. Try 3, I think this was. There was one try where it all went wrong for us and we didn't save that replay. So I think this is either try 3 or try 4, but there's 2 replays for you left to go. I am going to try and squeeze both of them into this video if we can. So apologies for the skipping at every opportunity possible. We will try and catch any incidents and stuff that go down as they all shake their ass and try to warm up the tires. I never do that. I prefer to go for a lift on a coast on a nice early braking area as we get punted from behind. That has not worked out for us. Down to 16th, a very poor qualifying this one, but good to see that he's picked himself up a wee 1 second penalty there for that wee punt to pass there. And he leaves the outside open for us to take the slipstream and drive straight past him. Bit of second gear there, very late on the brakes. Afraid of the lunge coming back. So yeah, we will be trying to squeeze our last 2 efforts that we had at this one into this one video, so it will be a slightly longer video than usual. We'll hopefully try and keep it under the half-hour mark. Number 1 above the guy's head in front of us, suggesting that he might be able to take me places, and a penalty behind us. We'll skip on as and when we can. Like I said, I cannot see me going for a move on that guy. He's a big number 1 on his head. I will definitely be feeling to myself just to stay with him, let him take his places. And we're clinging in the slipstream at the moment. A bit of a gap behind us, but we're only in 14th. I will jump outside the car, but do have a big number 20 on the door, which is very good to see. We're the lowest rated guy in this lobby. So Gran Turismo not expecting much from us in this one. Again, we shall have the skip as and when we can, because we have a loading screen and a huge grid walk to go if we're going to try and squeeze another race into this. You can see how close we are to them around those corners, but on the exit, like I was saying in the last videos as well, they just ease away. Very hard just to cling with them in the slipstream. But yet again, we've managed to cling just about onwards with another skip, as there's nowhere really to go here, all following each other. Ancient pleb as well. Hopefully us 3 aren't going to get into anything silly, because there is a wee bunch of 4 just on up the road there before a bit of a gap to the group at the front, and he wanted to go defensive, so I nudged him to try and encourage the side-to-side contact, but Mr. Razor's clearly a smart driver. He did not want any side-to-side contact, and hopefully Mr. Pleb is now gained a wee bit of confidence or a wee bit of trust in Mr. Razor, because he didn't go for that. That's certainly what Mr. Razor will be hoping for. I know that's what I'm hoping for as well. As soon as he went defensive there, I started thinking to myself, no, please, don't do it. And you can see Mr. Razor trying to make friends with him, is he? Nudging him on. Looked like he could have went for a move there and decided to go for a wee nudge on. So hopefully Mr. Pleb is going to relax now and start looking in front of him, because there is still 3 cars on up the road there that are within racing distance. If we can just edge up on them. Again, the 3 of us, very smart driving. There was that one scary moment at the start of the last lap there, whenever Mr. Pleb did look like he had turned up to fight for a 12th position that day, but he didn't. He was just a wee bit nervous So he's went defensive. Now, are we still all going to push each other, boys? Are we still all going to push each other? We were. And again, smart, clever driving from all of us. He must have a wee bit of confidence in the both cars behind him now. Good, smart driving from all three of us, just to keep our opportunities still alive for that wee group on up ahead. Again, I'm forgetting about the skipping. We'll skip as and when we can, as we have another one that we want to squeeze in. And there is a nice big bunch just on up the road now. That goes right up to 6th. That goes right, in fact the car at the very front of that there is 5th place. There is a top 5, a pit party just on up the road. Again, we just lift gentle on the brakes, trying to look after the tyres, because it's working. No need to make a move now after being patient for a few laps. We've kept our patience, and we are slowly but surely threatening to get in to the slipstream of the queue that goes right up to 5th or 6th place. And a bit of a gap opened up behind us as well. Yet again, we find ourselves that position on the track that we're always talking about, where there's no pressure on the ass area. I find it very easy to drive when there's guys in front of me. I almost find it easier to keep up with fast guys by judging it off them ends. Whereas if I'm in front of a fast guy, I'm much slower than what I am whenever I'm just on my own, because I feel like you're slowing the guy down, you're braking too early, or else you're braking too late, just because the pressure is on. You're trying to hit the limits. Bit afraid to brake too early in case they mistime their own brakes and stuff. Side by side, about to go down here maybe. Again, we keep our patience. We don't really want to get into a battle with all these, and that was awfully slow. A slow down of the pace there, and the wee bunch on up ahead, driving away there by a couple of tenths, no doubt. A quick look behind us again says we still have no pressure on the ass area. Someone served the penalty, and we're up the 12th position. Although now a wee bit of pressure on the ass area, because Mr. Codex, although he might be fast, because he was on up the road ahead of us before he got that penalty, so he could be on his way back now. Oh, we decided that a sexy green nose was to be placed on his right hand side. Did he hang it around, or did he? No, he's lifted out of it and let us just about survive, and we're still in the slipstream. We didn't really get punished there for that bit of side by side, but you can't see how easy it is with any side by side action just to lose that slipstream, which is vitally important. 11th place. Was there anything else to be had that day? We were showing a sexy nose, at least threatening one, never really going for it, but we made Mr. Pleb have to make his own move there. It hasn't really worked out for us, although there's been a wee half-second penalty handed out for Mr. Casapo. Unfortunately, it looks like that's going to be us out of the slipstream. Again, onwards with a wee skip. No, we're back in the slipstream, we're still in it, so it's all looking good at the moment. A wee cheek behind us, tells us that there's plenty of people back there to make it all go wrong. Onwards yet again with the skip. Gerard behind us, the Spanish guy, no doubt thinking of making a move. Again, that is where we're struggling the most. You can see just guys all over us. Must be very frustrating for guys around those two corners to be stuck behind a Sirocco. And you see, we get off the racing line, we give that man the slipstream, and we'll lift off and let him have it. And again, we have found ourselves a bit of space on the track with no pressure, and now we can fully focus on trying to look after the tyres. And this guy's clearly on the move. He got himself a penalty. He was not sure where he qualified or how far up the road he was, but he's clearly faster than us. There is no sense whatsoever me wanting to race him right now. If it was the last lap or 2 laps to go, then yes, perhaps it was time to have a race, but no way on lap 9. If someone drives up behind you from 2 or 3 seconds back and they end up on the RAS area, they're faster than you. You shouldn't want to be ahead of that guy. If it's in the middle of the race, you should want to have that fast guy in front of you, making you go faster, making your overall time faster, rather than having a few side-by-sides, passing each other a few times, and then we just end up in a race for 17th and 18th with a huge big bunch of guys. And again, struggling to stay with him. I think we've lost the slipstream by the looks of that, and we'll get ourselves back up into it. We're pretty good on the uphill. Sometimes when we did lose the slipstream, we were able to drive back into it in the uphill just because the Sirocco was that good. Again, as and when we can, we shall continue with the skips, and I do want to keep my last effort into it as well. We did score 201 points in our last race at this, where we got 8th. However, we did feel like there was more in it. We usually accept anything over 200, but it was only our second try, and we thought that there was definitely more points there to be had if we had, because we had a very poor qualifying in the race that we did end up scoring 201 points. So we were just greedy. We just wanted more, and sometimes when you want a wee bit more, you end up with a wee bit less. Onwards we shall go yet again with a few skips as we find ourselves back in the slipstream now. Again, we'll stay with it on the exit of this because you can see how close we are till I'm on the corner, and they just drive away. And again, we're down on the fringe of the slipstream, and he is in a stronger slipstream. So we kept on finding ourselves that even though we were in the slipstream, they were in a stronger slipstream, so they just drove away from us. However, like I was saying, we were very strong on this uphill section, so we always seem to pull a couple of tenths back on the cars on the uphill. Again, with the skip, as and when we can, a nice bit of a gap opening up behind us now, but struggling every lap. You can see every lap we come round. Again, we've managed to drag ourselves back up into the slipstream, but virtually every lap with these three guys, they're just losing the slipstream around here. Have we stayed this time? Have we stayed? Oh, he's dropped himself a wee wheel. We're definitely in it. I will not be going for any silly moves. Lap 15. And again, that 8th position in front of us would have been the 200 that we wanted. I think we probably would have accepted a 200 score after not accepting the 201 that we did score. We started to regret that in the very next race, we started thinking to yourselves, we might not get that again. And it was time to place a sexy green nose to the left hand side of Mr. Pleb. Could we drive right out in front of him and get the car out with 2 and 2 just about. And now Mr. Pleb will be very, very frustrated, stuck behind us in that corner. You can see just no drive out of it, and again he'll be all over the ass area there, basically pushing us around that corner. And almost lost the slip. More than likely, yeah, we're out of it by the looks of that. Top 10, lap 16 was Mr. Pleb coming back, deciding not to go for the pass at the moment. Mr. Pleb perhaps still has hopes of a top 8 himself. Onwards once again with another couple of skips. If we miss any passes or anything, we will come back to it. As Mr. Pleb drops himself a wheel, he's going to have a set of dirty tyres now, and a half-second penalty for the can 8th position as well. My goodness. Was there anything for us to be had? Those corners just killed me. So frustrating. Even watching it back, it's a bit frustrating just watching the car lose time on the way out of that corner. Onwards we go once again. Looks like we're struggling big time now with the tyres. Doesn't look like anything is going to open up for us. We'll do well to hang on to our top 10 here. And we see Mr. Pleb is back in the slipstream with us. How much of a run does he get? How close does he get? It's the final lap. We surely have the ultra defensive head on now. And Mr. Pleb is all over the ass area, trying to apply the correct amount of pressure in hope that we shit the pants. He did try to go to the inside, but we covered that off. Now he tried to drive right around the outside. It was a hell of an effort by the man. And again, a big slow car on the apex, nowhere for him to go, and we'll make sure we try and hang it nice and tight, so there's no sexy nose. And in this one, it looks like it was a top 10. We brought this one home in the top 10. Let's immediately go back and here for our yoga fans who love a wee bit of meditating, a wee smoke break, a wee cup of tea, whatever. Enjoy your meditating loading screen. Thousands of emails asking me to bring these loading screens back. Enjoy. And there we go. What a lovely wee bit of peace and quiet there, I hear you say. Fans of the yoga, fans of the cups of tea, fans of the not wanting to listen to me. Anyway, a grid walk now to endure here as well, although it does look like the sexiest livery that turned up that day, qualified in 3rd position. There we are, and a big number 17 on the door as well. I think this was my best qualifying all round. I thought for a while we were going to get pole. I believe we got a. I don't know whether to say no, it wasn't 27. It was a it must have been a 28 flat. I think the top guys were in the low 27s, 27 3s, 27 4s. It was a very good lap. I think our best qualifying was a 28 flat. Never dipping into those 27s. And as you can see, there was an awful lot of big red faces on the grid for almost all of these races. Very disappointing with the amount of bog standard liveries that turned up. There's another bog standard one, and another one behind. A record breaking amount of big red faces throughout this whole day. But here we go. This is the final race, the last chance saloon this was. So it was do or die. Whatever points we managed to get here is what we were going to end up with. The number above the head was number 17, right? So Gran Turismo didn't expect a lot. We'll have a skip as and when we can. Again, same as the last one, we'll try and catch any wee bits of racing and stuff. I was a wee bit excited here whenever we came out of that there. I was thinking to myself, oh, the top three, we can all drive away. We had lost the slipstream. I was saying during this race already at this point, surely us three need to make friends. We need to make friends like immediately. Mike was a bit nervous there, going defensive. And just that one slightly defensive line is asking the other guys to get back into the slipstream. We kind of need Mike to get his head down and get away if we want a chance. And he's made a small mistake there as well, which ends up with a sexy green car on his left hand side. He lifts off there and lets us filter in, which gives us a bit of confidence that he's not coming for the lunge. Unfortunately, I think we were just out of the slipstream, and you can see he's got a slightly better run on us on the exit of that corner. And there was more in the queue, so there was a small opportunity on lap 1 for the top 3 to get a bit of a breakaway, but by this stage already starting to think slightly different, as there's plenty of them. There's now a top 6 and the leader is actually starting to stretch it out ever so slightly. On with a skip and keep the video length to a minimum. Still managing to cling on to second position and kind of matching Mike out front there. He's not really getting away from us anymore, but you can see the car is just very nervous, particularly at the end of the racing. It can be very frustrating for guys when someone is so slow in certain sectors, but there's just nowhere to go. It's so easy for guys just to nudge into the back of you and push you very politely, but very effective at just nudging you out off the apex and taking that pass through frustration because you're that slow. You're slowing them down too damn much. Did he want to come? I think, will we hand it over to him? Yes, we did indeed. Let's have a quick check at that. I think I stuck my indicator on there to show him, didn't I? Yeah, there we get the indicator on to let him know that we're going to leave the inside open, and we'll just drift outside and let the man help us out, hopefully. Try and cement us a top 3 or a top 5. Onwards with the skip once again. Let's have a check on the outside view, as again someone had snuck into our slipstream, and by the looks of it we had lost his slipstream straight away in the same place. And now there was more hunting us down, right on us. Are they coming for a move on us in this lap? No, he gives us a nudge. onwards with the skip as and when we can. This guy clearly with a bit more pace than us. He should be wanting to make a move on us. He's been very nice and very patient at the moment though. And yeah, I remember this. I was feeling pressure. I was looking behind me and I seen this gap. These two guys are clearly faster than me, and I seen a wee gap. Went down to 6th and regret this decision, but we've moved over and handed over those 2 spots in hope that these two can bring us forward, or at the very least try to keep us in the top 5. We would have been over the moon with the top 5 here. We would have got like the 230, 240 points. Would have been very nice. And that's all about staying with them in the slipstream. We're just about, in fact I think in the very first lap here we're just out of it, although I do think we managed to get back into it. But again, it was very, very risky for me. Regretted it within 4 or 5 laps of handing it over. I was starting to regret it. I was thinking, you know, that I should have stayed there. Even if I was slower, at least I was still in 3rd. I was more worried about I was going to be that slow. I was going to turn a battle, a 3-way battle for 3rd place, into a 10-way battle for the top 13 or something. I didn't really want that to happen, although looking back at it now, I might have had a better chance at getting a good result if that did happen, because we do usually have pretty good awareness about us. So when there is a lot of guys in a battle, I feel like that's usually where I come out on top, just trying to avoid any incidents and stuff. But yeah, it still would have been risky, you know. It was, I regret it now, as I say, but we're still, they're helping us at the moment. We've been here now 2 laps, and without their slipstream we're about to struggle for a top 8, a top 9 that is, back there. And by the end of this race their tyres are going to be much better than our own. Again, get a good corner there and we're back in the slipstream, so we've got 2 laps of being helped out. Not sure if the overall time would have been made up there. We probably lost a full second, I think to 2 seconds, we're handing these spots over. But we're coming round now for our 3rd lap of slipstream. So they're definitely giving us some sort of help. If I was still at the front of this bunch, then we would have been going through our tyres even more, trying to drive defensive and what have you. I just think it was smarter all round. At the time I thought to myself, yeah, do it. You're gonna end up frustrating people. It doesn't take too many laps. Like if someone is being too defensive and losing too much time, it really doesn't take too many. I mean, corners, I mean, for the guys behind to start getting frustrated and start thinking to themselves, right, and I need to pass you now. You're way too defensive. You're way too slow. And then an aggressive move comes. A lot easier sometimes just to hand that stuff over. And again, another lap of help in the slipstream. So I think it's maybe evened itself out a bit. Looking back at it here on the replay, we did definitely lose a bit of time, but when you see we've stayed in their slipstream and they were clearly faster than us, we couldn't get rid of them. So they have helped us out here for a minimum of 3 laps. Onwards once again. Getting nice and close, if anything, trying to encourage those two to have a side by side. But no, they're nice and sensible, although the slowdown of the pace is allowing another couple of guys back into it, and again really important that we hang with them in the slipstream on the way out of that one. And once again another lap, so 5 laps all together I think so far that we've been helped out, and we're still clinging. However, this guy, there's a wee bit of a gap behind this guy, and Mario has caught all 3 of us. So Mario is the man with the pace at the moment, and again we'll more than likely try to use him as our very own secret weapon and hand that spot over as and when we can. Onwards with a skip. Does he decide to show us his nose? Not just yet. Still in 5th place. Right back to 8th place though now is for sure making their way back towards us as our tyres start to drop off lap by lap. Again onwards with a skip. You can see how frustrated he must be there behind us, just feels so slow. And was it now that he showed us a nose? There he go, he shows us his nose, and we'll lift off and give it to the guy properly, so there's no time lost at all. Allow him to come back out and hit the fast line in hope that he can help us stay away from these three. These 3 are coming for it. There's not much we can do at the moment. And again the tyres are starting to kick in now. You can see we're out of the slipstream. There's no way that we're staying in the slipstream around these 2 corners, and now we're a sitting duck. We're a target. Lap 13. Trying to count the laps down, and still a wee bit of hope that those guys on up there might get into a bit of a race or incidents go down. So the top 5 isn't yet out of reach, but now the pressure is all over the ass area, and it's too early to start fighting. It's too early for us to go ultra defensive now. No sense trying to defend and hold people back for 4 whole laps. So we'll leave the inside open and hope that maybe only drop down the 1 spot, and we do just drop down the 1, and hope to ourselves it's not for keepsies, it's just a wee land of it. We'll be wanting that back. However, very, very hard to be able to even have a race in the last 3 or 4 laps. You can see guys in every cars all around us, just more grip. You can see the drive that they're getting. Lap 14 coming in the end. Another quick skip. Was anybody coming for a lunge? No, not at the moment. They're all settled in. And again, look at the exit of this one. No one keeps saying it, but it was a nightmare trying to stay. Luckily he's not in the slipstream, so he won't just drive on away from us. Just about clinging in the slipstream, which is protecting us off these 2 at the minute. Lap 15. Another few skips. Did they go for a lunge? I think he got a wee tag from behind, and then he ended up being pushed into a wee tad, and you can see again he has to be frustrated there. We're so slow, the car just will not drive forward fast enough, and are we clinging to the slipstream again, ever so slightly by the looks of it. And he decided to go for the pass there. Let's have a look at that one again. Lap 16. He did indeed. And we're down to 8th. Although we still would have been happy with 8th, as it would have given us the 200 points that we wanted. Again, sexy blue nose, Mr. Snova. And we got mauled. We were getting mauled. It was all going wrong. Really, really enjoyable, very, very enjoyable racing, but very frustrating at the end of these races, just to be at a disadvantage in terms of the amount of grip and acceleration that we're able to get. It's for sure the worst possible way to have your race go, you know. I think all of us would rather have a poor qualifying, start at the back and move forward, and rather than it all go wrong for you in the last 2 or 3 laps. It's I hope that the rest of the races that we're doing in the Sirocco, this one didn't have any compulsory tyres, so it was basically a no-stopper. The other ones do have compulsory tyres to use, so there will be a compulsory pit stop in the other races, which I'm hoping, I've not done any practice or anything in them yet, but I'm hoping that will allow me to maybe to be a bit more competitive with other cars. It will of course allow other cars to do more laps on the soft tyres. People may well be able to do 9 or 10 laps on a set of soft tyres, let's say, and my car might only get 6 or 7 laps out of them, depending on what the tyre wear and stuff is like. But the fact that they also have to do a pit stop means that as soon as you start losing pace, then you have options there. You can come in, you can have a bit of a strategy, try to come up with a bit of a plan. And you can see the start of the last lap, and it is just again very frustratingly, this whole race I felt like there was a top 5. There was a top 5 in this for us. In fact, at the start of the race for a long time I thought a Battle of Bubbly was in this race for us, and again, ever so frustratingly, it just slips away in the last few laps as they all come back with much more grip than you. So it was a very enjoyable but a very frustrating round, this one for us. I was expecting very good points here. We ended up with 180 something points. Slightly disappointing. Apologies for the slightly longer video. We'll catch us in the next one, guys. Thank you.